ascended skies, soaring to new heights and new understandings, understandings, overstanding. This is the Butterfly Boy Chronicles. I am the Butterfly Boy. I'm going to teach you everything I know about breathing. When we are stressed, we breathe through our mouth. If you've seen anybody at the end of a marathon race in stress, they're breathing through their mouth, panting, gasping for oxygen. If you saw the same person at the beginning of the race, they would be standing there, cool, calm, collected. Deep nasal breathing with satisfactory amounts of oxygen entering their system because the body was not screaming for oxygen because it hadn't run the race yet. It hadn't gotten into a simulated fight or flight survival mode. Once it had gone into such a mode, a survival fight or flight mode, it began gasping for oxygen, as it would. What am I going on about? Folks, when we breathe through our mouth, our body, our system screams at us that we are in fight or flight. We need to have adrenaline and energy and oxygen to fight for survival, or to take flight, run. Equally, we need oxygen and adrenaline, energy, power, instant. For that to happen efficiently, we need to suck in large amounts of oxygen rapidly to satisfy our muscles that are screaming for this oxygen in the fight or in the flight, fighting or running, both the body screaming for oxygen like the guy in the marathon race at the end, the body begging for oxygen, panting away, trying to suck it in through the biggest hole it can, not the small holes, the big hole, gasping inappropriate amounts of oxygen, unfiltered, in the incorrect intake valve, speaking car language, and down into the carburetor where the air and the fuel mix, the lungs. Folks, when you breathe through your mouth, your body tells you you are in fight or flight, survival mode, and you are in stress. That's what the body understands when large amounts of oxygen are gasped in and gulped down into the lungs. The body understands you're panicking and gasping air. Therefore, it makes adrenaline. It understands you are afraid and need to fight, or afraid and need to run. So it's ready. So you are stressed, very anxious, very jittery, very discoordinate, very disresonant, not resonating, disharmonic, not harmonic, stressed, not at peace. Breathing in through your mouth stresses your body by stimulating your survival mode. Equally, that stimulates your pineal gland to secrete adrenaline. Mouth breathing causes the pineal gland in the center of the head to secrete adrenaline, to prepare to feed the body with the chemical it needs for ultimate survival, fight or flight. Both those actions, burning the muscle, breaking down the muscle, damaging the body. But the other option is death. So once the animal, yourself, has survived the situation, the immediate danger, has fought and won, or run, but survived, has fought and won, or run and won, equally survived. Then the body can begin to calm down. It doesn't need so much oxygen, so you can stop gasping through your mouth and should return to your natural state of nasal breathing. That should be your natural state, because it is. When you are born as a baby, yes, you breathe through your nose, completely and utterly without any instructions. It's only when a baby gets sinus blockages, mostly due to incorrect feeding mechanisms, causing lactose intolerance or lactose blockages and sinus blockage. Baby can't breathe, so baby begins to cry, which is the way it gasps air into its lungs and continues survival under a stressed situation like not being able to breathe. It's probably the most stressful situation one can be in. Less than thirsty for water, less than hungry for food. Just going to plug this in, folks. So, where does that leave mouth breathing and nasal breathing in accordance with our natural lives. Let me just make sure this is plugged in, folks, so I can concentrate on you. Hopefully that's it. What I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is if you breathe through your mouth, you are sucking in unfiltered oxygen, unclean air, and your body is registering a fight or flight syndrome or system activation, and is pumping adrenaline into a body which is simulating fight or flight, known as stress, but is not in fight or flight. Therefore, the adrenaline rush is not necessary, which makes one anxious, like drinking 2 cups of coffee instead of one, and one gets all jittery. That's simply from breathing through your mouth before you have the coffee on top of that, and the sugar dump, and the chocolate that follows, and the cookie that goes with it, and the donut, and so on and so forth. And you wonder why you're anxious. Equally, when you're breathing through your mouth, as I said, your body registers a survival activation mode, creates this adrenaline, and gets you all stimulated and stressed. Breathing through the mouth causes stress, is the reaction, the human biological reaction to a stress known as fight or flight. So in reverse, folks, if you're breathing through your mouth daily, every breath, breathly, you are in stress. You are stressed. What I'm saying is a perfect measurement for your stress levels or stress is whether or not you are breathing through your mouth or naturally through your nose, called nasal breathing, yogic breathing, ancient breathing. The mechanism of ancient breathing, ancient wisdom, what the ancient people used to call common sense. Who wouldn't breathe through their nose? Why would you breathe through your mouth? Silly Billy. That's dirty. In your nose you have cilia, hairs. They clean the air before it goes into your lungs. Mucus cilia cleaning filter, perfect like spider web for dust and large particles which you don't want going into the lungs. Your body has it covered, folks. What other secrets do we know about the nose? Well, that they are turbos. Yeah, you got 2 of them. In your nose, you have something called an olfactory nerve that travels directly up to your brain. When you breathe in through your nose, you carry oxygen directly to your brain and you oxygenate your thinking system, your fire, and it burns well. You think well. Your thoughts are pure, good, healthy. Your nasal passages, both of them, all the way back down and into the throat, are spiraled For a bad example, like the barrel of a gun. So when the bullet comes out, it's spinning. So it travels further, it travels accurately. When you breathe in through your nose, the air that is taken in, the clean air after being filtered, like your water or anything that goes into your car system, the clean fuel after being filtered by the nasal hairs and mucous system, the clean air spirals down the bronchia, the tubes, and into the lungs, into the main entry tubes, the main entry bronchia into the lungs. The air is spiraling into the 2 tubes into the lungs, which then split into 2 tubes and 2 tubes and 2 tubes and filter down into the lungs on both sides in receding fashion. As these tubes that come in split into 2 and 2 and 2 and filter down into the bags of the lungs, they recede. The most important understanding is that they recede. Think of a pipe starting that big, and as it goes to its end, it gets smaller and smaller. It recedes in size until it's very small at the end. When you blow through it, you'll feel great resistance and pressure on your breath, because this big hole pushing out a lot of air, but by the time it comes to the bottom, it's such a small hole, the air can't escape, so it backs up, and it causes a pressure that forces that air out the end of that pipe under great pressure. Well, when we breathe correctly, diaphragmatically, pushing our stomach out, sucking the air in through the turbos, the nasal, the nose, the nostrils, and down into our lungs. As the bronchial tubes, the lung tubes, split up, and receding it smaller and smaller and smaller, and end up on the lung lining, at the alveoli, exchanging the oxygen and carbon dioxide in the blood, basically giving oxygen to your blood, taking carbon dioxide back into the lungs and expelling it in an exhalation. Every time we breathe in through our nose, we spiral the air down, down, down through those receding tubes, causing pressure, forming pressure, creating pressure. By the time a correct nasal in-breath gets to the end of the lung bronchioles and is touching on the lung lining, on the bags that are your lungs, the air is under such pressure, spiraling, receding, hitting the arteries, veins, wherever it's hitting the alveoli, the exchange doorway of carbon dioxide, oxygen, the revolving door, putting blood into the oxygen into the blood, taking carbon dioxide out the blood, constantly revolving, changing. See, like a revolving door, taking carbon dioxide out and putting oxygen in. In goes oxygen, out goes the carbon dioxide, and again, and we breathe on. revolving CO2 O2 door at your lung lining. Your nasal passages carrying this oxygen, receding, pressurizing, is something we know as chi, energy, prana. And that's why breath work is absolutely, categorically, intrinsically connected, goes hand in hand with chi, energy, prana, the understanding of electromagnetic energy and how it works in the biology of a being, creature, animal, human. Your correct breath in through the nose, down through the lung tubes, onto the lining, exchanging and exhaling. In perfect harmony, each breath slower than the one before, extending the timing in, extending the timing out, harmonizing them perfectly. Engaging your abdominals, your stomach, your diaphragm, your diaphragmatic breathing. Your diaphragm is your stomach. Diaphragmatic breathing. Exhale. Push the stomach outwards, which draws the air into the lungs, deep down, filling the body cavity. When it's time to turn around and exhale, simply begin to squeeze the muscles of the abdominals. Squeeze the bag, the stomach. Close it, until all air is exhaled. And your stomach muscles are tensed. And then expand the stomach, and it will draw air in through the nose. Move it up to the lungs, expand the body. And exhale. So let's take a breath. As we have exhaled completely, the stomach is closed, tense. We expand the stomach. As you expand that stomach, the air is drawn in through the nasal passages. And as you get to full expansion, pause and begin to crunch the stomach. My gesture was to show all air out, cannot speak. Folks, breathing is as easy as breathing is. We've been doing it for a while, haven't we? Come on, the fact that we make such a palaver over breathing is ridiculous. In through the nose, deep diaphragmatic, expanding the stomach out through the mouth or nose, as you please, tensing the stomach every breath slower than the one before. Secret out, easier. And slower. So let's show you how that works at stomach level. Remember, folks, the secret is not to breathe in through your nose, but to expand your stomach. For that to work, posture is crucial. Sit comfortably, as you like, whether it's cross-legged, on knees, on a sofa, off a sofa, wherever it is, on the grass. The best place is in nature, seated. For me, it's on my knees. Others, it's this lotus posture or half lotus or sitting on your buttocks. As long as you're sitting in nature, on nature, with nature, if you can be. If you can't be where you are. But the secret to breathing is posture, straight spine, nice and relaxed. You must be in your relaxed posture, but straight spine. I'll roll up my shirt so you can see my abdominals. I have to tilt this down a little. And I want you to watch the breathing process of the stomach. Exhale. and so on and so forth. And you keep breathing every day, every breath, just like that, whenever you can. Now I understand completely that many of us have busy lives, we're rushing around, a lot to think about, and there's no time to think about how we breathe or how we are breathing. But there is. Because, folks, you'll find that the most important thing you're doing every day of your life is breathing. If you don't believe me, just try holding your breath for more than 2 minutes. Yes, sir. So, your breath, whether you like to think it or not, whether your boss likes to think it or not, is the most important thing in your existence. Every 2 minutes. Maybe less for some. Just makes me want to deep breathe, baby. Woo! Folks, when you deep breathe, when you breathe any amount of breath in through your nose, your body, as with your mouth breathing and stress, your body registers something when you breathe correctly. Your pineal gland registers the oxygen flowing through the olfactory nerve. Your body registers the pressure in your lungs. When we breathe correctly through our nose, when we fill our lungs correctly with the right pressure, vibration caused by pressure, like drumming, beating the drum, causing pressure momentarily on a tense surface, creating vibration, frequency, energy, chi, prana, power, electromagnetism across the lung lining, across the drum lining, across the lung lining. Your breathing, I can feel myself heating up. I'm breaking a sweat. Your breathing, your oxygen feeds your prana, your chi, your fire. Your oxygen feeds your fire. You create chi, energy, prana. Your vibration through pressure on the lining, on the taut skin of the drum, on the lining of the lung. The pressure creates ripples, frequency, vibration, sound, light, chi. Your lungs When you breathe correctly, they ring out like tuning forks, like bells. Dong! Yes, folks. Deep, diaphragmatic, correct nasal breathing, common sense breathing, your natural form of breathing, rings out the bells of the lungs, creates chi and energy and raises your vibration. Literally charging your battery. Your breath is your fuel, is your charge, is your recharge. Your breath is the air, the power, the ether from the power station, the atmosphere. You take a little energy and you utilize it and you regurgitate it, and it goes into the symbiotic cycle of nature and the plants. They breathe it in and they regurgitate it and energize it and exhale it as oxygen, and you breathe it in. And it goes on, the cycle of fauna and flora and breath. We share the air. We share the air. Come on. When you breathe in through your nose, folks, you ignite your pineal gland, same as when you breathe in through your mouth. But when you breathe in through your nose, folks, your pineal gland says, wow, and it creates melatonin. Melatonin is for calming and eventually put you to sleep, for meditation. Yes, folks. Nasal breathing is taught for meditation because it stimulates the chemical melatonin to relax you into a deep state out of a beta brain wave length down to an alpha, preferably delta. And wow, if you get to theta, you cruise and you're going with the flow. These are your 4 brainwave levels, folks. Deep states of theta, slowly coming back through delta, alpha, and back to a stressed state of beta. What I'm offering you in this understanding of breath work, folks, is if you breathe through your nose, every breath, forevermore, you are stimulating melatonin and creating a calm, peaceful alpha, delta, or theta state. Anything but the stressed, mouth-breathing beta state that most humans find themselves in daily and nightly. Anxious, stressed, taking some sort of medications or calmers to relax themselves and cope with the heavy stresses of life. It doesn't have to be that way, folks. Your first step, your first form of defense against stress, mental, emotional, or spiritual pain and suffering, physical pain and suffering when utilized correctly, is nasal breathing. You've known for a long time, folks. People always say when you have a stressful moment, take a deep breath. And they never mean through the mouth. They mean through the nose. Nice, deep, calming, nasal breath. Everybody knows that nasal breathing is the way to relax and calm oneself due to the melatonin being created instead of adrenaline, which is created through mouth breathing. Nasal breathing is your natural form of breathing that has been stressed out of a baby who breathes naturally through their nose until they become au fait with the stressed pattern of the life they are being offered or forced to exist in, and mimicking those around them, learning the incorrect ways of taking the most vital force known to man, your breath. Folks, if there's one thing you need to get right first, is realize with real eyes that you are in a perpetual singularity, a perpetual, continuous, single moment known as, by Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. There is no past, there is no future. There are a constant opportunity of now moments, simply offering you the next now moment to make a better decision. For instance, deep diaphragmatic nasal breathing to calm and relax the mind, emotions, heart, organs, body, life, soul, spirit, energy. Nasal breathing is not a new age, it's not a spiritual, it's not a cultic, it's not anything secretive other than what it has been made. A baby breathes through its nose. All creatures breathe through their nose, unless they are in fight or flight. And then they may use their mouth to gasp large amounts of oxygen to burn quickly with the adrenaline, which is the fire, and the fire and oxygen burn together to give you massive amounts of energy to stay alive. But this is detrimental to your health, extremely detrimental to your health and actually to your body. It literally damages your muscles. Imagine that went on. That level of stress, that level of fight or flight, that level of breathing through your mouth, that level of panic, that level of anxiety daily, hourly, nightly, weekly, monthly, yearly. If it were an animal, it would die of shock and decay and anorexia, and its body would just eat itself after a few days or weeks of this extreme high fight or flight syndrome in its emotions, mind, heart, spirit. It will think it's constantly under attack. That kind of output from the animal, it will burn itself out eventually, and so will you. It's called burnout, folks. It's called a nervous breakdown. It's called fatigue. It's called MS. It's called many things that perhaps I don't know the new names of. When you have no energy, depression, sadness, sad, SAD, disillusionment, disappointment, lack of self-worth, imposter syndrome. All of these folks, they will cease your existence, your happiness, your joy, your purpose, the reason why you're here. Stress caused by mouth breathing, the proof that you are in stress being mouth breathing, is a very, very, very unhealthy option. Yes, by all means, use your mouth for drinking, use your mouth for eating, even use it for talking if you must. But for breathing, this you cannot trust. Not for peace and harmony, not for your calm, normal, average, day-to-day, moment-to-moment status. In a fight or flight situation, by all means, folks, gasp as much air as possible and save yourself. That's what it's there for. Pant through your mouth, create adrenaline and survive. But when you're not trying to survive, do not breathe through your mouth. Do not create a survival mode that is artificial. Do not stress yourself, panic yourself, and be ready for the fight or the flight when there is none. Through your breath, folks, you can control your chemicals, your relaxation or your stimulation. Through your nose, you can create, through your nasal breathing, melatonin. Melatonin will relax you, help you with meditation, sleeping, calmness. Breathing through your mouth will create adrenaline, help you with awakeness, alertness, survival, fight or flight, but causing your physiology damage, burning every cell, every bit of energy you have in every corner of the body, burning you up. That's why you see people who are highly stressed generally have anorexia, thin, haven't got time to eat or digest or burn it all up if they do eat it. They're thin, emaciated, stressed, unhappy, depressed, all the things we spoke about earlier, labeled earlier. These conditions and expressions of stress. The greatest stress causer in modern society is mouth breathing, incorrect breathing, taking in air, fuel through the wrong hole. Speaking cars, putting the water in the petrol can and putting the petrol in the radiator where the water should go. Now that wouldn't work very well. Trust me. We need to put the right fuel in the right hole for the right purpose, for the right outcome. Breathe nasally, folks. It's your natural state. It's your natural format. It's the correct orifices for oxygen. These are your oxygen orifices. This one, let's just say it's for drinking and eating. It's your appetizer orifice. Maybe you can orate with it if you like. Your breath, folks, is the key to calmness. Your breath is the key to calm. Your breath is the key to calm. It can be the key to survival and stress. One of those is positive and one is negative. You decide. I think, folks, the secret is instead of breathing every breath through your mouth, you breathe every breath through your nose. And if you feel you need more oxygen in any one moment, by all means, suck it in through your mouth. In closing, folks, most people don't breathe through their nose, and the muscles have collapsed. Often you see footballers with a little piece of material here. Well, it's actually a clamp which forces the nasal passages open by pressure, kind of like forcing a peg open by pressure, a peg. But if you breathe through your nose, every next breath from hearing this video, sure, you will forget and be back to mouth breathing, but catch yourself and keep doing it. And through progress, month after month, and it does take months. It did take me 3 months. It may take months. Is a better way to say it. You will soon find at some point that it's no more necessary to consciously tell yourself, I'm breathing through my mouth again. Back to my nasal breathing, and on you go. I caught myself out breathing through my mouth again. I forgot to nasal breathe. Back to your nasal breathing. Yes, you will do that. Yes, it may take times, much, little, as you like. Depends how quick a learner you are. But at some point, you are going to suddenly, unconsciously revert to your natural state of nasal breathing. And never again will you take a breath through your mouth, nor in sleep or awakeness or sleep. You will become an avid nasal breather, a natural human, breathing in their natural way. That is the first step to being a natural human, a natural being, not a person. Breathing in through your nose, folks. Studying breath and conquering the art of reverting to natural nasal breathing will be the greatest thing, greatest aspect, greatest change you could ever make. Reverting to your natural states, whether it be breathing, drinking, eating, the law you live by, how you treat your fellow humans, etc., are the greatest moves you will ever make. Returning to Mother Nature, returning to your natural state. We shouldn't have to. We should have never left it. But some things weren't up to us when we were little. But now, of course, we can take back our power through our breath, through our nasal breath particularly. And we can breathe electromagnetic energy into our meridian system, into our emo, our electromagnetic orb, into our aura. We can breathe energy into our powerhouse. As long as we do it correctly, nasally, deeply, diaphragmatically, and done correctly, I can assure you this breathing ignites the flow of energy in the electromagnetic system running through the biological system. And in fact, the reason for the biological system, the vibrational energy came first. Folks, good luck, good journeying, good perseverance. If you would like to know more on breathing, I offer courses on breathing on my website, rainbowstorm.net. Just book yourself in or give me a call, connect up in any one of the ways you like to, email me, whatever. And if you'd like to learn more on breathing. But the nuts and bolts of breath work I have just given you. Go and practice, go and enjoy, go and change, and go and mostly go forth in curiosity and playful like discovery, and learn about what now appears to us as ancient wisdom, but in ancient times was simply common sense. Put the fuel in the right orifices and all is well. Get them mixed up, probably gonna be a bit like hell. Folks, happy breathing. This has been the Butterfly Boy on Breathwork on the Butterfly Boy Chronicles. Ascended skies, soaring to new heights and new inner standings. Signing out.